Ladies and gentlemen, YLs and OMs of all ages, let's get ready to bumble! The Animal Radio Club is proud to introduce, live from the hive, your guy in the sky, your king of sting, the bee's knees, he's Jack the Bee-Man Estevez.
I appreciate that.
And we are going to properly get the microphone here. That way, someone can
audio.
I'm sure this is going to
Just do it on a beer.
Just cooked it on here.
And you can put that someplace handy for you.
Very good. Well, hello, peoples. I'm Jack.
Hi, Jack.
Hello, Jack.
KB3 WUM. If you have you ever been on the HobbyNet, you've probably heard me. Because I am like all over the place on the HobbyNet. And let me see if I can get this thing keyed up.
Well, that's your password.
Yes. There we go. And I'm here to talk to you guys about pollinators and honeybees specifically. And you'll find out why is this thing not loading. You'll find out here in a little bit why it is honeybees more specific. All of our pollinators, I don't know why this isn't loaded. I had it. It was up and ready to go. But anyway.
It was the announcement.
Excuse me.
It was the announcement.
Right? Right? It was a great announcement too, wasn't it? That was fantastic. I absolutely love that. Anyway, I came here tonight to talk to you about pollinators, and all of our little pollinator friends are kind of having a hard time. And what I'm trying to do is just kind of give everybody an overview of why they're in trouble and what we can do to help them out. And I have some really nice pictures and stuff.
It's coming.
Anyway, while we're filling the time here, I got a bunch of stuff here at the front table. Flower seeds, okay, this is good pollinator food. You're more than welcome to take those. I got little I Heart Bee buttons. Put them on your hat, your particular lapel, whatever you like. And of course the honey is available. So anyway, here we go. Ooh, look, it's gonna work, it's gonna work. I'm excited. I'm excited. Go big. Right, oops, wrong way. Right. There we go. Alright, honeybee rescue. Who, what, why, and how is helping honeybees. The future. The presentation. I like that presentation. That was cute. Topics, who we're going to do, who I am, what I do, how to do it. Y'all can probably read. Why something needs to be done. How you can help. Who I am. I'm Jack. I am KB3 WUM, also known as the world's ugliest man. Thank you very much. All right, this is my wintertime beard. Back when I was working in the shop, I also do a crane operator thing. You all might know that. Beekeeper, handyman, and I like to go out and teach. And I'm a friend of the hobby. This is Miss Holly, if y'all don't know her. God rest her soul, she's 100 years old in this picture. This was her birthday party that I was able to attend. A lot of fun. This is my crane operating thing. Some of the things we do there, I like to use my HT up top. You can see the GPS says I'm at 505 feet. And I'll tell you what, an HT worked great. 505 feet. A couple pictures there of the working the gray line, as I like to call it.
Wow.
Just some of the views that I get to see every morning or every evening.
You thought your office window was good.
Right? I'm also a beekeeper / bee rescuer. I go out and I cut out bees that are in people's houses or in one picture up here, a hotel. I go in and I'll collect these bees and I'll put them in one of those hive boxes that you see over here in the front. I got a little helper down here. He was that particular cutout was in a tree that had fallen that had bees in it. So I removed the bees from that situation. That was a lot of fun. I also do some other types of techniques there. I'm a handyman. I like to do some woodwork and stuff. Some of my projects there, I work with the little dogs. And most of those are all dog things because my daughter is a crazy dog mom. I don't know if anybody knows the crazy dog mom, but this is my daughter. She has me build toy boxes and all kinds of fun stuff. Teacher, go out to schools, green clubs, 4-H clubs, all types of things to kind of give them exposure to what I'm telling you all about today. And the elementary school, they made that neat little thing for me. Those are the kids' thumbprints that made it. I was so proud of that. What I do and how I save honeybees from harmful situations, relocate them. First thing, one of the first things I do is I get a swarm call. Swarm is a cluster of bees. It's hanging out there. It's really easy to go hive a swarm. Okay, when these girls are hanging out in a tree somewhere or on somebody's fence or on the car, and I'm sure everybody's seen pictures of a swarm not where it should be. You go out there and you just kind of collect them, put them in a box. They like it. They're like, hey, look, this works for me. We'll go home with you, no problem at all. A swarm is the honeybee's way of procreating or dividing. Make two separate hives. So the old queen she'll say, you know what? It's getting a little crowded in here. Everything seems to be in order. I'm going to take off. I'm going to bring about half you girls with me. We're going to start a new colony. And at that point, they will make a new queen. So you'll have two separate colonies. And that's how they have spread across the United States. I say that because a lot of people don't know it, but honeybees are not native to North America. They were brought in around 1622. The colonists brought them over to kind of help pollinate fields and get agriculture working better. And they're really good workers. So anyway, they came in on the East Coast, 1622. It took like 213 years to make it all the way across the country. So it was about 1880 something before we saw honeybees in California. So it was pretty cool. They were doing really well, much better than they are today. Trap outs, people have honeybees in their trees or in their houses and don't want their house cut open or the tree cut open. You can trap them out. You put a little cone up there, they can get out, they can't get back in, they can't figure it out. And so I give them a little place there to go to, and they'll collect in that box. Problem with trap outs is there's no guarantee that the queen will want to leave, so you'll have to requeen and leave the remainder inside the hive or inside the colony there. It'll eventually die. It'll eventually starve and die. So I don't like to do trap outs, but it's a lot better than poisoning the bees. At least the remaining bees have a chance of doing some production. You can requeen them and they'll be a great little hive. Cutouts, as I said, going in there and talk about the fun little job there. And they were up in an attic, a little double attic space. That house had been remodeled. Nobody knew it. It was full ceiling. It was a lot of fun. But I'll go in there and I'll use my little bee vacuum that I built. Suck them up. Yeah, there's my bee vacuum in the back corner there. And suck some bees up, cut the comb off, clean it all up. I'll stuff that cavity full of some sort of filler. Usually it's fiberglass insulation. And seal up the hole, and that way they can't get back. Old equipment. Some old beekeeper can't pick up the hives anymore. He's ready to give up the hobby. He's like, hey, Jack, look, you do something with these bees, and so I'll take them and care for them that way, or display, put them out on other people's farms. So I got a list of people that are willing to accept bees, but they don't want to be beekeepers. So I'll put a hive out there and then go check on it once a month or so. And planting pollinator gardens. It's one of the new things that I'm trying out. Just started this year. And well, I tell you what, not only are they beautiful, but these pollinator gardens are really good for bees. And not just bees, but butterflies and the other pollinators, which all need a source of food all throughout the year. So you plant different species of flowers that flower all throughout the year. Most of them are considered weeds, but they're native to the area, and they're really good for the ecosystem. Not to mention beautiful. Why I do it? Why I believe there's something that needs to be done. Because all hives matter. That's why. Y'all say it with me together. Bees are important. Okay? They are important to us. Over 4,000 different species of bees in North America, right? Whoa, I didn't know that either until I started looking into it. Not all of our pollinators have wings. You have slugs and snails. There are also little pollinators there. This is the wrong figure. This one here it says approximately 3 billion per year. It's more 30 billion. $30 billion a year is what the agricultural, it depends on pollination. That's a big number for me. But the agriculture is also killing the bees. That's part of the reason why they're in decline. Because of, because of some of the techniques we're using. Not necessarily good for the bugs. Most of the species that are in this 4,000 group are solitary. They live alone. They live by themselves. There's no queen and workers and drones. It's just a female bee. She's going out and she's gathering her own food. She's laying her own eggs. And that's one of the things that I want to try to start doing is building these solitary bee homes. And just, most of them are stingless. They don't even have stingers. They're great little bugs. Most of the fruits, vegetables, seed crops, and many of the feed crops that we use for feeding our livestock all depend on insect pollination. It's pretty awesome. This is a picture of a grocery store with pollination and the same grocery store without it. 33% of all of our food directly depends on insect pollination. It's 1/3 of our food. That's every 3 bites of food that you have is there because of a bug did what it was supposed to do. So why is it a focus on the honeybee? Well, like I said, most of the bees are solitary bees. Solitary bee colony might house 100 bees, whereas a honeybee colony might house 80,000. So you get a lot more production, smaller area, a lot easier to manage, and people have researched the bugs. They know how to care for them, they know how to manage them. There's a lot of information available on honeybees. So that's why I'm focusing more on the honeybees. And the secondary is more the solitary bees and other techniques as far as keeping these guys up and running and working. There's tons of equipment available and support. And whenever you make a little change in your hive, you can see it. You can see if it's working for you or not in a couple weeks. So pretty easy to manage and keep going. 3 different types of honeybees in your hive: worker, queen, drone. Queen bee. There's only one per colony. It's like that immortal guy. What was the Highlander, that's it. There can be only one. And what she'll do is when there's a little peanut thing up in one corner, that's called a queen cell. That's a special cell that the bees make to raise a queen, because she's so much larger. They need a lot more area. And the bees, the worker bees, will decide that the old queen is not functioning anymore, and they'll start making a new queen. Now, any fertilized egg can become a queen. It all depends on how they feed it. If they feed it all with royal honey exclusively, she'll become a queen. And there might be several of these cells in a hive at one time to guarantee success. And what will happen is the first one will hatch, and she'll go around and seek the other ones out and sting them. She'll just like kill out her competition. It's kind of a vicious little system that they have, but it seems to work for them. It takes 16 days for this bug to develop and hatch, the queen bee. And she's cared for by her court. You can see there's little bees all around her. They're all attending bees. They will come and they will groom her, they will feed her, they will remove her waste. They will do everything, so that all she has to do is run around and inspect the cell and lay an egg. About 1,500 per day during the summer. So she's got a lot of work to do. Exactly. If she's well fertilized, she can go up to 5 years in age. But a lot of the beekeepers, modern beekeepers, will replace them every year, whether she needs it or not. Not a big fan of that technique, but seems to be common. The worker bee's got a smaller cell, and without her, nothing is done. Worker bees have multiple jobs in her lifetime. As soon as she comes out, she has to chew herself out of the cell, and once she comes out, she turns around and cleans the cell, so that and another egg can be deposited. So she goes through. She's a housekeeper bee, and she starts tending and feeding the larva. The little nurse bee. She'll grow up to be a guard and or an attendant, and then eventually, during the end of her life, she'll get out to go forage and go collect pollen and nectar and water. Propolis. Takes 21 days for a worker bee to develop, and she only lives for about 6 or 12 weeks during the summer. She basically works herself to death. She has a stinger. She has one stinger and one shot. If she stings, she dies. So she makes it count. That's why it's so easy to go into these beehives without a lot of protection, because they don't want to give it up. They don't want to give up the one chance, this thing. But if you're threatening to them, she'll use it. As I found out a couple weeks ago, when I was manipulating the hive, and I was picking up a box, and I accidentally dropped it. And it went boom, and a sudden jar set off the alarm, and they were like, and I didn't have a veil on, I didn't have anything on. They hit me like 13 times, and I was just like, I was walking away from them. I felt bad for them. You know, they were beating me up, but I felt bad that I just killed 13 bees. The honeybee drone. Any beekeepers out there? I know there's a couple ringers, right? A couple of them. A lot of people consider the drone to be useless. I think it's very valuable. It's the only way to spread the gene pool of the colony from one to the other. And drones are kind of special because they can go to other bees' hives. And they can go and check out the other ladies. Like, hey. So it's kind of cool for the drones to be able to go around and be like a spy. They'll come back. Hey, those people got a lot of honey. They'll rob them. And they'll do that. It's pretty cool. Yeah. They got a big bullet-shaped cell, as you can see, different from the other ones that we saw there. It takes 24 days for the boy bee, the drone, to develop. he gets fed by the worker bees. He'll go up and tap, he'll use his little antenna. You can see a picture of them eating right here. The two little antennas, they start tapping, he's like, need some food. He's like, all right, let's feed you. So, yeah, they get a pretty good job. Their main job is to go out and pass genetic materials. They'll hang out in what's called a drone congregation area. Nobody really knows where these things are. It's a big mystery, but apparently it's a big bachelor pad. And they all hang out, and the queens come cruising by, and they start catcalling. It's fun. It's real fun. They mate in the air, and as soon as he mates and passes his material, his stinger falls off. No stinger. Okay. His equipment falls off, and he falls to the ground, falls to the earth, and then now he's compost. Yeah, so he gets to sort of. That's it. He's got an 8-week lifespan, and in the fall, if he hasn't done his duty, they kick him out. They send him out. It's like, we're not feeding you all winter. We'll make some more in the spring. He gets made by an unfertilized egg. Apparently, yeah, unfertilized egg. Who knew that unfertilized egg would develop anything, right? Honeybees, magic itself. It's magic. It's kind of like 6 meter band. But these guys fascinate me because they got this great big old bulbous eyes. You see how their eyes are different than the worker bee eyes? So he's just like, he can see everything, pick up on other stuff. He's a cool bee. And one of my favorite things to do is when I'm introducing bees to people, is pick up a drone. Say, here, hold this bee. Good. It's kind of fun to chase people around. It is. Look, I'm getting messages. I didn't think it would work. Oh, I'm on Wi-Fi. Why do bees matter? There you go. You like to eat? You like fruits and vegetables? You like seeds, almonds, those types of things? That's why they're dependent. If the bees are gone, there's going to be a lot of food that we're not going to see anymore. It's going to be kind of tough to get a bowl of broccoli. Not that anybody wants it. 44% of the average annual losses. All right, this is a number for 2018. It varies, of course. There's a thing called wintertime loss, which is normal for honeybees. 10 to 15% normal, losses over the winter. And then you have total losses, which take into account losses in the summertime, which shouldn't happen. They only started recently counting that because they were finding out that these bees were just dying off in the middle of the summer, or they would disappear. Some of them didn't even die. Some of them would just evacuate, and there's no sign of them. There's no dead bees. There's a hive full of honey, and they just like picked up and left. They're calling this thing colony collapse disorder. They call it that because they don't have a better name for it. Colony collapse disorder involves parasite and viruses. We got this neat little bug called Varroa destructor. It's really neat. It was introduced in the United States around 1985-ish. And apparently it's a bad little bug. It feeds on basically the bee blood. It's not really blood, it's a hemoglobin, but it feeds on them, and it also passes diseases like some people know West Nile is transmitted through mosquitoes, kind of the same thing. All kinds of neat little parasitic flies. Everything's attacking them from one side. On the other side, chemicals that we're using, the Roundup spray, all the insecticides that we use. And everybody wants to look at the farmer, but all of us weeds. We do this, oh, we don't want dandelions in our yard. And most of the poisons that are introduced into the environment are through homeowners, not just the farmers. Let's see here, a bunch of artificially bred bees that we're got to messing with, trying to make the perfect bee, the soldier bee, if you will. And then monocropping, monoculture, and what's that thing? MGOs, modified genetic organisms, GMOs. Yeah, those things are apparently not always good for our bees. So we don't know what to blame it on, but we blame it on it all. We call it colony collapse disorder. It's been around since 2006 is when that was coined. And until we get oh yeah, another thing, electromagnetic radiation. Me being a ham radio operator, I don't think there's anything to do with that. It's not my fault. I didn't do this.
At least not HF.
Right? Right? My 1.25 meter radio did not hurt you. How you can help, this is what I want everybody to hear. Everybody can help the bees. Whether you want to be a beekeeper or not, you can help. Doesn't take much at all. Don't mow, let grow. Don't keep your lawn as a golf course. I know it's pleasant, I know it looks fantastic, okay, but it might as well be a salt flat for bees or a desert. Plant some native flowering plants and trees. You can look at their county's extension office, they will have a great list. And in Master Gardeners Clubs, 100% free, and so happy to have somebody talk to them, and they will give you all kinds of information. Provide a watering station or a feed station, conveniently located right here. Okay, this is what I have as a little homebrew feed station, water station. You put your sugar water or regular clean water in here. The bees will come in and they will just drink out of that thing.
They also go to hummingbird feeders.
They will go to hummingbird feeders, you're absolutely right. But their little tongue is very small, so the hummingbird feeder's got to be plumb full or leaking in order for them to get some good stuff. But it's the same feed, it's just sugar water. Buy products from a local beekeeper. And let's see, join the club. They got these cool mentoring programs. I got some literature up front. Free State Bees, right up here in Crownsville, Maryland, have they got this neat little mentoring program where you don't want to be a beekeeper, but you want to be exposed to bees. Maybe it's something you might be thinking about. Let me see if this is good for me, a fit. You know, it's free. You go up there, you help manipulate the bees, or you stand back and watch. Either one.
Jack, what does it cost for a basic beginner hive? You know, if you want to do a little hive and kind of contribute.
This is a basic beginner's hive kit from Free State Bees over here. All except for the top box. You'll get all that stuff for $190. I have information here from Free State Bees. And I'm using Free State Bees because they're local. Okay, they're local to Crownsville. And they're the only ones that are really local to here. But they got all kinds of neat information. If you're interested, please take one of those.
And if you're going to do that, what time of year would you start it?
Well, yeah, you would start that in the spring. You would start that in the spring. But you want to start learning now how to care for them. Because right now you have to order your bees. If you plan on buying bees, you have to order them now or they're going to be sold out by January. Here in just a minute. Let's see, build or install pollinator hotels. That's for the solitary bees. Local weeds make great pollinator food. Dandelions are perfect for springtime. You know, there's pollen and nectar first thing in the spring. Milkweed is a favorite plant for butterflies. Goldenrod is good in the fall. Clover, that clover that everybody hates, wonderful for bees. Okay, they'll eat that stuff up all summer long. Don't use any pesticides near the flowers that the pollinators might be going to. It kills bugs. It'll kill bees. Bees or bugs. Herbicides, they even mess with the reproductive systems of bees with the herbicides, so that's also a no-no. Prestigious, lush, perfectly green, manicured lawns look great. Useless to the bugs. Some neat little plants there that are really good, native for pollinator. Really help them girls out. I think these slides I'm going to make available to Mr. Ed, and that'll be available online like Kelly's presentation was. So really hoping that people take advantage of this information here. And some of them are actually very good to have around. I mean, blueberries, who doesn't like blueberries? Right? There's probably some people out there. Black-eyed Susans, everybody likes them. Stay flat, exactly. Put out a watering station, feed station. It's really easy to make, obviously. I was able to do it. And, or you can go with the 5-gallon version, which is what I do in the house. And they will go through that 5 gallons in a day.
Wow.
Yeah. If you open feed like that, it's not just your colonies that feed. It's the neighbors and the ones out in the woods and the ones that are in the clubhouse back there. They all find that sugar and they will just basically swarm it. And they will take down five gallons in a day, which gets expensive. Figure sugar's about 50 cents a pound, so. Support your local beekeeper. Hire products that are above and beyond honey, the comb honey, the cut comb honey, which I don't do because I think it destroys their habitat. Mead, which is a fermented honey drink or a honey wine. A lot of beekeepers are making that. Why not? It's wine. Right? Beeswax candles, lip balms, lotions, soaps, propolis. What's propolis? Does anybody know what propolis is? No?
I do.
You do?
Yes.
Tell me all about it. Okay.
Propolis is the stuff that comes off of bees, and it sticks on the outside, not the outside, but inside of the.
He does know all about propolis. It's bee glue.
Yeah, thing.
Bee glue. Yeah, and it's a wonderful medicine. A lot of Native Americans and a lot of cultures in Latino communities use propolis for fighting infections and a lot of neat stuff. The honeybee hive is also sometimes regarded as nature's pharmacy. Other things you get bee pollen. If you got allergies or something, take some bee pollen. You'll build an immunity to them. And but it's got to be from your local area because that's the pollen that you're being exposed to. Hive furniture, which is that stuff, arts and crafts. Some local clubs and mentoring programs. I got a sheet here on the front table. Feel free to take that if you're interested in those type of programs and the relatively close. Maryland State Beekeepers Association is obviously statewide, and they are just fantastic. They bring in speakers from all over the place and do honey shows and all kinds of great stuff 4 times a year. It's not much to it. I think the dues are like $15. Become a beekeeper. Get a better understanding of honeybees. You know what? You can develop a personal relationship with your honeybees. They will recognize you. Yes. They will want you to get in there a couple times. They're like, you know what? That dude's all right. And like a raven came over. I look similar to Raven with the facial hair. Okay? So they would probably be okay with Raven. But if Sean came over, they might look at him like, hey, whoa. No, you dude, I might have sting you one time. And of course, beekeepers are like any other club, ham radio club, call it what you want, boat owners club, yacht owners. They, it's a community. Everybody gets together. We have little fun bee things. Of course, you get the freshest honey available. And you have a great source of propolis if you're into that kind of stuff. And not to mention building an immunity to bee venom. I love getting stung 13 times and being done, being swelled up and itchy like 6 hours later. Build or purchase, install pollinator hotels. Now this is for the solitary bees that nest in tubes. Okay, a lot of solitary bees nest in the ground, but these girls, like the leafcutter bee and a couple others, they will seek out these little holes, and they will go in there. They will collect pollen, they'll collect nectar, and they'll stuff it all in the back of this little tube and lay an egg in it, and then seal it off with something. It might be mud, it might be leaves. They'll seal it off, and then they'll repeat, and they'll do an 8-inch tube, have 7 or 8 cocoons in it. So,
Where are they at in the food chain?
well, I don't know. I guess bugs. They're in the bug category, so birds probably like to eat them. But they don't. That's one of the neat things about bees is they don't harm any other living things to provide for themselves. You know what I'm saying? They don't go out and eat gnats per se. Their sole protein is pollen, and their sugar or the glucose is the nectar.
Is that true of all bees or just?
As far as I know, that is true for all bees. Now, when you get into wasps and hornets, they will eat proteins. They will eat other bugs or honeybees. It's kind of sad when you're sitting out there, you walk out to your hive, and this European hornet gang is just at the front door, and they're clipping the heads off your honeybees. You're like, what are you doing? Get
Well,
away
that's
from
not
me.
nice.
It's not nice. That's exactly what I tell them too. You don't get out of here, I'm gonna be mad. And yes, I do talk to them like that. What's your investment? It's like a hobby, like any other. You can spend as much as you want. Sky's the limit. You can spend all kinds of money, or you can, if you're handy, you can build a lot of this stuff yourself. It's very, very reasonable. For the people that aren't particularly handy, estimated cost for the first year of bee colony is $700. That's including your bees. That's including your hive equipment, your veil, your smoker, all of the stuff that you want as a beginner beekeeper.
Cheaper than a big HF radio.
Exactly. And it's a lot of fun too. I like an HF radio.
Jim, are you saying that everyone here should sell their HF radio to buy bees?
No.
No, I'm saying
Bees
that.
want it.
Yeah, I'm buying HF radios and these. We can trade. We can definitely trade. Let's see, following, of course, the next year is a lot cheaper because you already have all the accoutrements, if you will, and the bees have already made some wax for you, and everything's all happy. There was a figure that I didn't put out here, but there's a national average of $735 per hive is what a beekeeper has the potential of making. So if you were into selling honey and into selling bees and into selling these hive products that we saw earlier, $735 per hive is your average potential.
So you're up $35 a year.
There you go. That's an investment, right? Making some money. Go out there and spend it all. Well, let's see. Time requirements, time investments, doesn't take much. It all depends on how fascinated you are with the little bugs. Obviously, your first year, you're going to be going to them every 3 days, opening them up, playing with them. But you don't have to do that. That's not a requirement. You can go out. How often did you go out? I go out about once a week, check on them. I don't even pull them all out.
My bees are dead now. They died from that colony.
It's because you didn't check on them.
But I don't go out like once a month.
It won't, you can even do that sparsely. There's a couple of my outreach hives that I only get to about once a month. Make sure they're still there and they're not full of disease. Oh, where was I? I'm gonna go back. Your bees, if you want to buy bees, they come in a package. You can get a package of bees, which is about $150, about $130, somewhere in that neighborhood. The prices range. There's a price sheet here for Free State Bees package, and you'll get 3 pounds of bees. You get 3 pounds of bees and a queen that they're not familiar with. Okay, so it's like, here I got bees from here and a queen from here. Now we have to see if they're going to cooperate, you know, and it doesn't always work out. There's no guarantee that they're going to coexist, and they might kill her right there. So now you got to go out and spend $30 for another queen and try again. More successfully, the 5-frame nuke. All those bees are family. They live together. They've been very cooperative, but that's a lot more money. It's usually about $200. But you already got 5 frames of starter goodies.
Hey Jack, my brother was able to sell 3 nukes this year.
Awesome. That's really good.
He was really happy with that.
I bet. You start doing splits and stuff, you can really make it work for you. I'll go back one more time. The equipment that you have here, once again, the hive boxes, the frames and all this comes in this starter kit over here, except for the top super box. That's something I added just in case anybody had questions about it. But all that stuff's up there and available. That was $180 for all that brand new equipment. You can paint it any color you want, or you can just treat it with linseed oil or beeswax. Yeah, put beeswax on. You melt the beeswax, dip your box, seal it up. It's wonderful. Let's see, helping the pollinators helps humidity. Really helps all your neighbors too. Your gardens are more successful. Everything is more happier. What else we got here? Oh, this is it help you lose weight. Okay, keeping bees and help the pollinators will help you lose weight. It worked a lot for me. Did you see this holly picture? I was 412 pounds in that picture. I'm not there anymore. All right, because bees are so relaxing. They're very relaxing. You go out there and you hang out with them, talk to them, tell them all your troubles. They don't judge. It lowers your stress level, which lowers cortisol, and it helps you lose weight. Support your local businesses, like your beekeepers and your Free State Bees and your farmers markets. And it gives you a good feeling about yourself. I'm doing something to help out. You don't have to save the world by yourself. Do what you're comfortable with doing. Together we can make a huge difference. Letter T, I don't know what that means. Typo, I guess. Yeah, so many hands make light work, if you will. So if all you guys have any sort of takeaways, if you do one of those things that might help, you're definitely helping. Albert Einstein says that the bee disappears off the surface of the globe, and man would only have 4 years of life left. No more bees, no more pollination, no more plants, no more animals, no more food, no more man. Just a fun slide I put in there. A lot of bee things. Thanks a lot. I appreciate everybody being really excited about this. It was a lot of fun to be able to prepare and do this with you guys. I was so excited to hear people talking about it, even when they didn't know I was listening. I was working. Don's a worker. But it was a lot of fun. I really want to do more, but of course more takes resources, and that's why I'm trying to start this thing up as a little business type thing, a nonprofit. What my goal is I want to get out and make it possible for these homeowners to go out and have the bees removed at little or no cost to them. Okay, that's kind of target, my dream, if you will, my something special, okay? I haven't got there yet. I'm in the fundraising stage just now. And selling honey and bee feeders is my primary source at this time. And, but I'm going out here and doing these things and getting more exposure, so it's making it fun. I've got some contact information here if you wanna email me or follow me on Facebook. I don't get paid by Facebook, but the more exposure I get to that, obviously the bigger my audience. If you go to the Facebook at all, Save Bees in Maryland. And that's my email to Gmail. I guess that's it. And the rest of it was a Q&A. That slide earlier, that was misplaced. So I open it up. Mr. Jim.
Earlier you were saying the drones are the ones that go out and transfer to other hives and so forth.
Yeah.
Is that how the Africanized bees finally work their way all over
Well, you know,
via the drone?
that's part of it. That's part of it. I mean, the Africanized bee was introduced in South America and it's made its way into the United States. So who knows? They say it's going to be too cold for here for them to ever survive this far up
Was
north.
purposely or accidentally introduced?
It was accident. Well, actually, it was purpose, okay? The African bees were much more efficient at doing honey. But they were so aggressive. So they used the European bee, which is much more relaxed, chill bee. So they bred the two in what they thought was a contained area, and they got out. And it was a disease, basically. It spread, and they're very good at multiplying and dividing. So,
It's
yes,
the
it was.
drone that keeps moving it on.
Yeah, well, yes. And every time the colony swarms and becomes bigger, there's two of them, now we've got more drones, colony swarms. It goes and goes and goes, snowballs. Yes, sir.
I don't think we have too many bears right around here, but do you have problems with raccoons or foxes or anything getting into the hives?
Raccoons and skunks. Raccoons and skunks, they seem to be the target creature. And that's why a lot of beekeepers will keep their hive elevated about 18 inches or so off the ground. So when the little raccoon or the skunk climbs up on that front step, he gets stung in the belly. That's the way we try to help with that. Yes, ma'am.
Is there current concerns for neighbors if you have a bee and then the neighbors having issues with being stung? I mean, are they prone to, flying in your neighbor's yard?
They will go to your neighbor's yard, but like I said, honeybees are very relaxed. They're very chill. They got one sting. They sting, they lose.
Well, I know that, but do you think?
Chances are, I went around to all my neighbors and I said, hey, look, I got all these bees. I got about 1 million bees in the backyard. Don't worry.
Oh.
And then the ones that said, okay, no problem, they were cool. The ones that went, oh, I'm allergic to bees, I was like, here, have some honey. And sweeten the deal.
What if said neighbors use lots of Roundup and junk? Is that going to be like you don't, but maybe your neighbors do? And
It's
the
very-
chance that I'm going to have like a collapsed.
Yes. Yes. If your neighbors are poisoning, your bees will be poisoned. Yep. Mosquito spray, a lot of you guys live in mosquito controlled areas. If they spray during the day, you'll have to lose them. Yeah, it'll kill them. Yes, sir.
I've heard that a lot of the honey in groceries is artificial. What's the
Yeah.
story on that? What do
Honey-
they make it out of it, and is it?
Corn syrup.
Honey at grocery stores, most of it contains corn syrup. It's a lot cheaper than honey. They can make it look like honey, they can make it taste like honey. And it's half the price, or a third of the price, or a quarter of the price. So it's very economical to sell honey at the grocery store, and if they don't offer a source on the bottle, it's more likely it's corn syrup.
Also, I wondered, does one hive have a territory? How big would that be? And if you have like, let's say you have 20 hives, you're a big time beekeeper, wouldn't they like all compete? I mean, is it better to have them separated by 500 yards or, you tell me?
No, not necessarily. It was in a forested environment There's plenty of resources for 20 hives in one spot. They don't really compete with one another. And you can have them stacked up on top of one another with no problems at all, no conflicts. The bees will go out about 1.5 to 3 miles to go get nectar and stuff, so this bubble, if you will be well pollinated. Kelly?
You talked about checking on the bees every few days or weekly, but what other maintenance is involved in the hives that you keep?
Really, I'm what they call a natural beekeeper, which I don't introduce chemicals. I try to treat my hives, manage them, if you will, all biologically, by manipulating their environment. So I can't really answer for everybody on that. But yeah, there's very little maintenance when you let them do bee things. You know, they cross the country. They spread across the country unassisted. You know, so if you let them go and let them be bees, they're going to succeed. The strongest ones will survive. Leave them be. That's my philosophy.
Sorry. One more question is to keep them, like, I guess, local. I've heard you can also feed, besides the sugar water, to keep them close by, would also, like, earn melon rinds. Like, they do really well with
Yeah,
watermelon rinds.
throw your watermelon, throw your leftover fruit out in the yard.
And
They'll find it.
yeah, they can use that as a
As a food source.
as
Yeah.
opposed to traveling too far
Exactly.
into said yards.
In the poison yards, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, throw your fruit outside. Let them eat it. Let them find it. If they don't find it, the ants will. And ants are good for the ecosystem too, even though they're pests. Right?
Do you put any hives out in orchards or things like, you know, actually have farmers ask you to bring them in?
I have farmers that ask me to bring bees to their area, but I don't commercially do it. If you want bees in your area, that's where they're going to be all year. I don't move them from farm to farm to pollinate each farm. I don't do pollination services, is what they call them. I think it's hard on the bees, a lot of stress when you move them, go from one monoculture to the next. Yeah, I don't think it's good for them. So I try not to put my bees through that stuff.
And also, are there any times of the year that certain, like down in North Carolina, sourwood, from what I understand, bees get into the sourwood and it ruins the honey, makes it poison?
Bees get into the honey?
Well, make honey from the sourwood that would be not good to eat.
I've never heard that, so I have to do some research on that. But I know that a lot of people request sourwood honey.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Maybe not.
There was
Maybe not.
one gentleman at the farmer's market I go to, he imports a lot of his honey from all over the country. And that's when he said, yeah, I'm going to get 300 pounds of sourwood. Okay. I don't know anything about it. All the honey that my bees collect are just from the neighbor's poison flowers and dandelions and just whatever they go out and find.
The local pollen.
The local pollination, yeah.
Would they know the difference between like poisoned plant, a poisoned plant, or between versus a non-poisoned
You
plant?
mean
It's unknown.
treated or?
Yeah, it's unknown. I don't know, because that's one of the things they suspect is the problem with colony collapse disorder. If they could tell, they wouldn't do it, right? So, yes, sir.
So I have two types of bees at my house, wasps and wood-borne. How can I encourage them to move farther away from the house?
Well, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but Dawn dishwashing liquid will knock a wasp out. It's like pouring gasoline on them.
Well, I didn't think wasps were good for anything, but you're saying they're pollinators.
They are.
So I guess I don't want to just kill them now.
Yeah, but I mean, they can be a little aggressive if they're on your front porch plate or something like
Well, they
that,
climbed into a bird feeder.
Ooh.
And they took it over.
right? They kick
So
the
I'd like
birds
the bird
out.
feeder back.
Well, this time of year, they're not in there, I guarantee you. Go clean out your bird feeder,
Or relocate it.
right? Some people say peppermint oil. If you put peppermint oil on the wood surfaces that they're chewing, or the bird feeder, or the bird house, they won't wanna habitate that with the peppermint smell.
Well, I have a lot of carpenter bees, which are pretty destructive. I guess they're good pollinators, but
They're excellent pollinators, they really are.
But
They're
they're a
hard
problem.
to deter from tearing up your deck. Yep, give them something to chew on.
What about yellow jackets? Are they pollinators?
They are pollinators.
Yeah.
They're a pest.
They really are.
sometimes.
Yeah,
They sting you pretty bad.
they're a pain in the butt. And this is my yellow jacket paraphernalia. I get these calls from people all the time saying, hey, I've got honeybees. Right? And I'll go out there and I'll see them. They're yellow jackets. They always call in the fall. I got these honeybees, they're in and out. What do I do? They're probably yellow jackets. But this is mine. I've wore it like 4 times. Never with honeybees though. This is my yellow jacket suit. And I don't have a proper bee jacket, if you will. So I got this Tyvek painter's coveralls. It works. It works. It's $4 at Lowe's or whatever, compared to $80 or $90 for a bee jacket. You know? So this works out pretty well for me, especially when I'm dealing with yellow jackets, bald-faced hornets, European hornets. And I'll go out there and I've relocated the bald-faced hornets. I've relocated a lot of those. But the European hornets and the European hornets and the yellow jackets, I've yet to actually relocate them because they're so aggressive. This is my bald-faced hornet nest that I relocated. And I just went to them in the nighttime, and I slipped a bag over them and clipped off the limb. And I took it to my house, tied the limb up, slipped the bag over and walked away.
I didn't know that.
And they were a little angry in the car ride. They were in the bag, I could hear them. They got over it.
when do you find your first swarms? I guess spring or summer, and it goes through summer? Or
Yeah, spring, late March through July. Swarm season in this area. Yes, sir.
How heavy was the thing to carry? How hard it was? Just so you know.
Oh, it's not that heavy. That probably weighed about 6 pounds. It's mostly paper, made from all kinds of bee chewings.
And they didn't bother your regular honeybees?
No, not the bald-faced hornet. The bald-faced hornet is technically a yellow jacket, but it's got a much better temperament. It's not the European little bug that really beats you up. This is something I did first though, is I hung I paid less. I hung a grocery sack really close to the front of their hive, and that motion kept on going in front of the hive, and it desensitized them to movement. So when I approached them with a plastic bag a week later, they're like, plastic bag, we got this.
Dumb little bugs.
But no, now they're in the backyard, and they took away all my flies. If you ever have flies around your property, get some of these girls, because they love flies.
That's good to know.
Right, and mosquitoes too.
How about snake bugs?
I don't know anything about that. This is honeybee rescue, don't think that. Just kind of.
Well, so how do you extract your honey, or do you extract much? Or are you pretty
Only because they don't have enough room for worm brood. I always leave my bees 85% of their own honey. I only take a little bit so they'll have more room. And when I do mine, I don't have one of the fancy extractor or anything. I just crush the combs. I crush the comb and let it bleed out basically, and through a filter. And that's as pure as you can get. It just goes through a filter. It's not microfiltered. Some of this honey up here is a little cloudy. because it has pollen and little chunks of beeswax and everything else. And like this one here is a little bit clearer, and a better filter on this one. You know, so that's how I do it. It's very economical and easy to do. In the back.
Sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, my husband was a beekeeper, but he died 2 months ago. He had cancer. So in about June, he only had 1 hive left, and it collapsed, you know, on the stand. It was so
yeah.
heavy. And so it's on the ground, and it's sort of fanned out a bit. So it's lying flat, and I'm not touching it. There's still bees in there.
Oh, really?
What can I do?
I can come set it back up for you.
Will you?
Yeah.
But I live just down the street. That's a long way from the
It is a long way from La Plata, but you know, if it saves a colony of bees, I'll do it.
Will you?
Yes, ma'am. I'll get your information after the meeting.
And in cold weather, wouldn't they be kind of,
They should be clustered up right now.
so you could lift it up without much risk of getting stung anyway?
Yeah.
Well, my husband tried, but, you know, he had a smoker and he had
Right.
a set that they just went,
They're still warm.
yeah, I toes and
Yeah, if you can find something to write on, write down your contact information, and I'll call you or something tomorrow and arrange a date. Try to rescue your bees. Is that it? Anybody else?
I have a question.
Yes.
What are some indicators that your hive is in trouble? And if you do find that your hive is having some kind of disease, what are some of the things that you do to help support them?
Well, like I said before, I believe that the strong will survive. If they can't manage it for themselves, they will collapse, they'll die. And that genetic line won't be passed. So that's kind of my philosophy on that. Now, I have an 80% success rate with my non-techniques, my hands off, versus a lot of my friends that are getting 40 or 50% losses using the artificial chemical type things. That's my sign.
Here in Anne Arundel County, I'm not sure if you would know, but is there any minimum size limit to a yard where you could have a box, or
Not at all.
or any recommend? Oh, okay.
No, only if you have a home restriction of covenants of some sort that says no bees, then no bees, obviously. But if there's no covenants saying no bees, then if you live in an apartment with just a balcony, that's all the space that thing takes. And that's all the space that you need. Anybody can be a beekeeper. I've seen them out on what they call window boxes, where they'll hang a frame right on the outside of the window.
And I guess even if you don't have the local food on your own property for them to eat, you said they'll travel up to 1.5 miles, so they'll go and find it and come back to that.
Exactly, they'll go find a Wawa recycling bin. You can get some orange crush honey. Okay, Diet Pepsi honey. Thank y'all very much.